Hello accountants, this is the complete Autoboxer video tutorial. My name is Colin Ogren, I'm the developer of Autoboxer. Let's get right into it. First, we're going to download and install Autoboxer and clawPDF. There are instructions in the description on how to do this. First, we're going to run the Autoboxer installer, follow the prompts, and then we're going to run the clawPDF installer. Follow the prompts as usual. Now we are going to search clawPDF in the Windows search tool. Go to Profile Settings. Go to Save. Make sure that Open with Standard Viewer after conversion is deselected, and that Enable Automatic Saving and Ensure Unique File Names are checked. Then press Save and close the clawPDF configuration window. It's very important that you do that before you use Autoboxer. With our software installed, we now need to set up our default printer and do one little fix for HAL. So first, we're going to go to Printers and Scanners, and then we're going to go to clawPDF. We're going to set it as the default printer. Next, we need to make sure that we turn off printer spooling. This is explicitly for HAL because sometimes it will print erroneously. And I've actually had this happen on physical printers as well. I don't exactly know what happens, but multiple people have had it, so this is the fix. We're going to go to Printer Properties, and then we are going to go to Advanced. And instead of using spool print documents and any of these settings, we're going to set it to print directly to the printer. Unfortunately, this will slow down printing slightly. So if you're only doing IJS, or if you want to set it to spool while you are doing IJS printing, then you absolutely can do that, and then set it to print directly to printer for 6.0. That's totally fine. Sometimes spooling actually will still work with HAL. It really depends. I've had it work sometimes. I've had it not. But if you're having trouble, you can always set it to print directly to printer, and that's what I would recommend if you just want to stay out of trouble in general. But up to you for IJS. Now that we have our software installed, we're going to open Autoboxer and create our Autoboxer workspace. Press the Browse button, and then create a new folder wherever is accessible to you. This is going to be our box folder. I'm going to call it Friday because that's what day this box is taking place. And then Pony Express because that's the name of the competition. Press Select Folder, and then we're going to put in the day field. We're going to put what day it's happening. So Friday. Don't worry about the event name delimiter yet. We're going to get to that in a second. Press the plus button next to Control Panel, and from here we're going to copy and paste our event schedule. So open your 104. This works with Google Sheets or Excel or really any other spreadsheet program. And you need to make sure that the event number column, the start time column, and the end time column are all next to each other. If you have columns in between any of those, you're going to need to hide them. So then next, we're going to copy. So we're going to select and copy and paste from the 104, those three columns. And then we need to populate all of these blank rows. And we can do that by using autofill blank times. Depending on your referee's preferences for warm up together notation, you will either need to use these defaults or you will need to adjust them slightly. Generally, autofill start times will always be down. Sometimes, like in this case, you'll need to use autofill end times down. So this 104 uses merge cells So we have to use autofill down. If your 104 looks a little bit more like this, where you have the start time up here and then the end time at the end of the warm-up togethers, then you will need to use the default setting where autofill start times goes down and autofill end times goes up. So then we can apply, and as you can see, this has worked properly. Double check against your 104, but if you're pretty confident that you did it correctly, just spot check and you should be good to go. You can also do multiple rinks in Autoboxer by pressing the plus button again to create another rink. You can have as many rinks as you like. You can also rename the rinks. So this could be the Olympic rink, and then this could be the NHL rink. And then you would just fill the schedule fields with whatever events from the 104, just like we did with the one rink, take place on that particular rink. So in the Olympic rink, we would copy all of the events from the 104 that happen on the Olympic rink, and then on the NHL rink, we would do the exact same thing. There is actually really nothing else special that you have to do in Autoboxer to set up a multi-rink competition. When we get to printing, you will print everything. You would digitally print everything together, and Autoboxer will automatically separate the two so that you can print on different colors of paper. And of course, then you will have to manually put them back together because unfortunately, Autoboxer cannot change the color of paper in your printer. Now we can start thinking about building our box, but before we do, I wanted to touch on the delimiter. So to explain it, let's go to ISU Calc and let's open a category. So basically, a delimiter is a string of text that separates an event number from the rest of the event name, or more generally, it is a string of text that separates two bits of data. So in this case, I'm using a delimiter that is a space hyphen space. You have to make sure that whatever delimiter you use, and this could be a space, this could be really anything else that isn't that is not a number or a letter. So space, you could use space colon space. You could use lots of different combinations, but one thing has to stay constant. They have to all be the same. So I think the most common ones are probably going to be a space delimiter and a space hyphen space. There is one other caveat here. If you have combined categories, so like in this case, I have a short program and a free skate. So I have event 8 and event 71. In this case, I'm using a space, an ampersand, and a space. This can actually be really anything so long as it's not the same as your delimiter. So this is a totally fine event name. But if I were to use a space delimiter, then this wouldn't work because this would be read by Autoboxer as event 8 with the name ampersand 71 junior women combined. You could do a space delimiter and use an underscore or a dash or an ampersand with no space. But whatever you do, you have to make sure that what goes between the event numbers is different than what your delimiter is. So a pretty safe naming convention is just like I've done here, or you can use an underscore. Those are two probably the safest. But space is totally fine if you keep those considerations in mind. Whichever delimiter that you pick to use, you need to put into the event number delimiter field in Autoboxer. So if you use a space, you would just enter space. If you use a space hyphen space, you would enter space hyphen space, or whatever other event number delimiter that you might have used. if you're doing a 6.0 only competition, feel free to skip ahead to the 6.0 portion. So to begin, if you have IJS or IJS and 6.0, we are going to press the IJS cover sheets button in Autoboxer, and then we're going to open IJS companion. We're going to open the database for the competition we're working on. And then we're going to go to forums, and we're going to print cover sheets. You essentially print everything in Autoboxer as you would normally, but we're going to be using clawPDF instead of a physical printer. So this particular competition day runs from event 1 to event 42. If you have multiple rinks, so if you have a second rink here, and you had, say, event 100, event 101, 102, and so on, then you will print for both rinks simultaneously. No need to separate those. So in this case, we're going to be printing from 1 to 42. Cover sheets. And we're going to print all pages. There's a little icon that's going to be flashing up on the screen. Once it stops flashing, then we can move on to our next step. Okay, and it looks like it's done. So we're going to go to press Judges Sheets, and then in Autoboxer, we're going to press IJS Judge, and then print all pages. And once this is done, I will be back. Okay, IJS Companion is done printing, so we will now close Companion and open ISU Calc. We're going to open our database, and we will now batch print as usual. So go Special, Batch Print, and before we do, we have to press IJS Tech, and then select all of the events that we want to print. Okay, and then we need pre-segment, tech panel, and execute. We're going to make sure clawPDF is selected, and then print. This one usually takes a little bit longer. I will be back. Now that ISU Calc is done printing, we're going to close out the program, and we can now start doing our 6.0 portion. So next, we're going to click on 6.0, and we're going to open HAL, open the 6.0 database, and we're going to multi-print, essentially how we would normally. A nice little feature of Autoboxer is that it doesn't matter what order the sheets are printed in. So this means that we can get it done in 2 passes instead of having to alternate depending on what gets a judge's sheet versus what gets a worksheet. We will still have to do an extra pass for any sheets like the generic free skating worksheet, or if you use a free skating all levels worksheet, or any other sheets that go under the top sheet. But we'll get to that later. So let's go ahead and just do our judges sheets for all the events from 1 to 42 on this day, or whatever your full day is. So let's see where the first one that we use judges sheets is. Okay, so we got these free skates. All right, so we're gonna go through these. Oh, not that far actually. Just through there. Those get the judges sheets, and make sure that you've pressed 6.0 on Autoboxer, and then we can press print. This won't take very long at all. There was so few. Okay, now we need to go back to multi-print, and we're going to select our worksheets checkbox here, and then we're going to select all of them that need a worksheet as the top sheet only, which should be those. And then print. And again, this won't take too long. All right, and now that that's done, we can go back to Autoboxer and click on 6.0 sub. And what this is going to do is it's going to allow us to have our generic free skating worksheets, free skating all levels, those kind of worksheets. Anything that goes underneath the regular judges sheet. So we're going to press worksheets again, and then we need those for 30 through 35 in this case. And then we're going to press print. And again, this won't take too long. Okay, and now that that's done, we're going to go on to 6.0 starting orders. So click that in Autoboxer, and then go to print, multi-print, and then we're going to print for our entire day, starting order with panel, and print. Now that Hal's done printing, we can close Hal, and back in Autoboxer, let's discuss the build settings before we generate. So these are the default settings that Autoboxer comes with. These are my preferred settings. However, depending on your circumstance, you may want to adjust these. So build by board is where instead of building the box by official, you're going to be building the box by panel position. So commonly used in some parts of California. Combined paperwork combines all of the entire box into one PDF, so you can print all in one go. Some people prefer this, some people do not, and we'll get into that a little bit more when it comes to proofing. Generate schedule sheets, generates a sheet on top of each official's paperwork showing what events they are on, at what time, in what rink, and what position they are serving. This is incompatible with build by board, and it will be automatically disabled. Generate generate starting order. Will generate a complete set of starting orders from both the IJS cover sheets and the 6.0 starting orders in chronological order. Generate TA sheets will just output a full set of IJS cover sheets for the technical accountants. From here, if you're happy with your build settings, we can press generate. And hopefully, the box will have been successfully generated. If it has, then we can go into our box folder here. And inside there is a folder called box. Here you have officials, starting orders, and TA. We'll start in the officials folder, and there's one folder for every rank. In this case, we just have one rank. And we can start looking at our officials papers. So as you can see, we have our schedule sheet generated and all of this particular officials paperwork is included in this file. There are bookmarks as well for your convenience. I highly recommend proofing this digitally, which we'll get to next. As an aside, if you have generated your box using combined paperwork, you can still digitally proof. However, you won't be able to print each official's paperwork right after proofing, which might make it take a little bit longer, but it's totally up to you. If you have combined paperwork, then the officials folder will contain just one PDF per rink containing all of the events paperwork for that day for that rink. So you may end up with a lot of pages. In this case, this is a pretty small competition. So I only have about, I have exactly 563 pages, but you may have upward of 1,000 per day. Depending on your printer, you may need to do that in smaller batches. My printer can do it just fine, but your mileage may vary. In this video, however, we will be focusing on not combining paperwork. So let's open up our first official. And if your referee has been so kind as to make freezing the first few cells very difficult, such as by using a lot of merged cells, then you might have to get a little bit creative here. In my case, I need to copy all but the top cells here and then make a new spreadsheet and paste. And then it looks like it's a little bit messy, but I should be able to freeze this event number column here. And then we can go over. All right, here we go. So then we can use either the schedule sheet, which is based on all of the generated sheets. So it should reflect what is actually in the box, not just what was scheduled. Or we can use the bookmarks, which are also fantastic. And you can actually go through and double check that they are there if you really want to. I'll just use the bookmarks and go through really quickly, but this is how we do it. So we have our events that are scheduled for each official, and we have judge from 4 to 5, and we have referee from 6 to 9, and then we have ref and judge 1 from 13 to 14, and then we have 17, we have referee, 21, 22, referee, 30 through 35, we have referee, and 37, we have judge, 39, 40, we have judge, 41 and 42, we have referee. At this point, we can print this official's paperwork. Before we do, we should make sure that we have set our default printer back to our physical printer. Set as default. Just makes it easier. Of course, you can select what printer you're using if you are using a web browser, which I do highly recommend instead of using Adobe Acrobat Reader or anything like that, because there's actually fewer steps involved in getting the print to come out correctly. It should just default to the right settings in this case, but there are some funky things you have to do with Adobe Acrobat Reader. It's in the written manual, however, if you want to go look at that and use it anyway. And then we simply press print for each official. Repeat this process across the 104 until you have finished, and then you should have a completely generated, sorted set of officials papers for that day. They should be all right, but I do recommend going through and just making sure that all the papers are there in case your printer had an issue or anything. Sometimes when you're using Autoboxer, it doesn't always work out for you. A lot of times you'll get a box success, but you'll have errors or warnings present. it's important to click the Show Messages button and inspect what went wrong. In this case, I've got a few issues. Events 1, 2, and 4 are missing papers potentially entirely, or they're at least missing their cover sheets. Events 5 and 42 are also missing papers, but in particular, event 5 is missing referee and technical panel papers. And event 42 is missing all of their judges' papers. So with this as our guide, we can regenerate those papers that we're missing. Starting with the first event, we're going to go into IJS Companion and regenerate just the cover sheets first, in case all that was missing was the cover sheets. So we're going to open our database, go to Forms, and and let's also actually open Autoboxer one more time. Reopen our last box here, and we're going to press IJS cover sheets. And we're going to go print cover sheets for 1, 2, and 4. And then print all pages. Okay, now let's try to regenerate the box and see if our error goes away. Okay, so in that case, all that we were missing was the cover sheets. No other sheets were missing, and we've resolved the issue. So now we're going to go to ISU Calc and try to fix the event 5 issues here. So missing technical panel papers. So once again, we're going to open Autoboxer and we're going to reopen. Go to ISU Calc. And we're going to open the database. Go to batch print. Select the event that you need to reprint. Let's make sure we pressed IJS Tech in Autoboxer, and then print the technical panel papers. And once this is finished, we can regenerate the box again and see if we fix the issue. Okay, it looks like it's done. So we're going to generate, show messages, and event 5 has been fixed as well. So now we have to fix event 42, which is missing judge papers and a referee paper. Now, if I were to guess in this situation, since the rest of the technical panel papers are apparently there, I am guessing the referee paper that's missing is one of the referee judge papers. So let's exit out of ISU Calc and let's go back to IJS Companion. Open the database. Let's open Autoboxer once again. Reopen the last box. We're going to press IJS Judge and then go to Forms. This was for event 42. So we're going to print 42, Judges Sheets, print all. And it looks like it's finished. So we can now once again generate. And we still have some warnings here. Okay, so it says that event 42 is still missing a paper. So maybe it got closed too soon or something, but let's have a look. So sometimes you will need to go into your folder here and just have a look, see at what's going on. So in this case, we have Judge 5. There's the referee. Yeah, so it kind of looks like Judge 4 didn't get printed. That's all right. We'll try again. I don't really know why that happened, but we'll delete all of event 42's judge papers again. And then let's go back to Autoboxer, reopen, make sure we press IJS Judge, just in case. And then we're going to go back to IJS Companion. And select our database, go to Forms, judges sheets, and we're going to print all. Okay, now hopefully this worked this time. We're going to regenerate. And there we go. And we have a success. Most Autoboxer errors are caused either by a user error, so if you forgot to do something, or there's just something a little bit wrong with your process, or however it was. Or the other really common situation is that a database build error will cause a problem. So oftentimes, if you have a wrong delimiter, which Autoboxer will tell you about, you need to listen to Autoboxer and go to the event that it indicates the delimiter is wrong on and change it. Or if your delimiters are in fact consistent throughout your database, you might need to double check that you set the delimiter in Autoboxer. So those are going to be probably your most common troubleshooting situations that you find yourself in. So hopefully that makes it a little bit easier if things do go wrong. Thank you so much for watching. If you had any problems, let me know in the comments down below, or you can shoot me a text or an email, and I'll do my best to answer your questions.